This is how to create a poster for Mr. Schwieder's Social Studies for grade 7 in 2015. So I've given you a couple links, and this is the two links that I will walk you through. So first is NYU, how to create a research poster and the very basics of how to create a poster. So a research poster is based on the research project, and is not the whole project up on a poster, but merely the um, most important parts. So what makes a good poster? Important information should be readable from 10 feet away. The title is short and draws interest. Word count of about 3 to 800 words, which is way too much for grade 7, especially because your whole paper will probably be, 1,500 words if you're lucky. Um, the use of bullet numbering headlines make it easier to read. Text is clear, to the point. These are all very good things. So the tips for designing an effective poster is, you can see that there's a lot of words, but there's not an overwhelming amount of words compared to this. This is too many words. This is too much. The graphics, everything is forced in there. There's not a lot of flow and ebb to this poster, but this poster has a lot more organization and flow to it. So when we go to the MIT, the biology at MIT, it gives us a couple slides to talk about how to put a poster together. So first, decide on a handmade poster or a software generated poster. Sorry, that bell is going to go off 2 more times. So, as we scroll through, consider our audience, the content, the graphics, the text, the language. Who is your audience? You know the audience is myself, as well as the kids in your class. You're presenting to me, as well as the kids in your class. So please consider our previous knowledge and what we know and what we don't know. If we don't know it, you best teach it to us. If it's common knowledge within the class, you can skip over that part or just assume that we know it. When we go through what's your story, this is your central research question. That's 2 times. The central research question is the very specific part of your research. When we start broad and then we get very specific and then we go broad again back into the explanations and the details, the central research question would be the very specific question. So what are effective graphics? This is where the important stuff for grade 7 starts to become noticeable. Graphics are the most important part of your poster. There's the third. It should be done now. Graphics should be simple and clean, self-explanatory, require a minimum of supplemental text, and be readable from 6 feet away. So if you're going to put a picture up there, put a picture. If you're going to put a graph, or if you're going to put information on of a graphic form type, it should be able to be, you don't have to get up really close to the poster to see it. Because remember that the people at the back of the class or sitting 6 feet away should be able to read this very clearly. Um, Again, minimize it. If this is the example, when we have this graph here, there's a lot of things going on here. If we take out the background, we take out the lines, we take out the legend, and we put it right here, and we start to take out the dots because the dots don't really, they're not needed in this. So take out everything that's not needed and be very critical about it. Um, Effective text, again, minimize the text. When you're writing on this, you want minimized text. You don't want a lot of words on there. You want images and graphics. You want short sentences. You want simple words. Again, going back to the NYU, use bullet points, use numberings, use your jot notes. Your jot notes would be fantastic to put up on a poster. As with graphics, make total ink equal information ink. So that just means the more, when you're writing things down, make sure it's to the point. It talks about passive color. Well, I guess there's 4 times, or there's another 2 more coming. What is effective use of color? Please don't use the whole rainbow. There's way too many colors out there. Stick to a theme of only 2 to 3 colors, no more. Use dark letters on a light background, because dark background with light letters is very tiring to read. It's very hard. It gets really blurry if you're old like myself. Figure out how you want to lay out your poster. If you put the title at the top, the introduction, and then you go through like that, there's people people naturally read left to right and top to bottom. The column format is easy to read in a crowd and is easy to follow along if you don't want to just write across your poster. So once we figured out how we put the poster together, we do the plan, which is based on your research, based on your mind map, really. We can consider time. Software-generated posters can take a whole day to print, not an urgent, situation. However, time is an issue. The software that we use and we have access to, and the title text editing and assembly. So what's a useful software? Here's some examples of good software. You can use PowerPoint, you can use Adobe Illustrator and InDesign. They're a little bit more expensive though, so if you don't have access to them, there's other ways. You can use Excel, Delta Graphic, Adobe Photoshop. There's a lot of programs that you can use. Title mechanics, when you're making one, especially on the computer, you need large bold-faced type or very big words for your title. This should all be self-explanatory because you've all made a poster before. Left, justify, or center this the title. When we go down to the headings and the everything else, title case or all caps, plain text, no bold, underline, italic, or shadow for the title. For the text, you can use it so it gets a little bit smaller, but you can go, the bigger information is, the next header is a little bit smaller than your title, but still bigger than the rest of the words, and just get smaller as you go along. For the editing, posters always have too many words, always. We're not here to read your poster, and if you read your poster to us, it's a very bad presentation. So we're hoping for 20% of your poster is texts, 40% of your poster is graphics, and 40% of it has nothing on it. If you can leave it out, leave it out. Don't put it on there. Again, to the point, very, very briefly. And then you can acknowledge other contributors and funding organizations. But again, for grade 7, this part isn't really necessary. And the spell check is very necessary, as well as get feedback. So ask your friends, is this 20%? Are there too many words? What would you leave out? What would you add on? Give your presentation to a couple people. See how it goes. See where they're confused. See where they're not. I hope this helps. This is the walkthrough for a poster.